So hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Hope you're having a wonderful and run little deer, run little deer. She's in my orchard. Let's see if does she jump over the wire. I'm watching. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. I hope to get this video up tonight. If not, it'll be first thing in the morning. We had a wonderful day today, and I was taking the day off. I was taking the day off today to get some chores done, and then we decided to decompress a little bit and do some genealogy. So I headed down to Cleveland, Tennessee, not too far from here, and to Chattanooga. I'm specifically researching a particular line, and I also wanted to go to a special place. If many of you may or may not have been there, or maybe you've been to other ones around the nation, which is a national cemetery. And so I was taking the day off. I thought, I won't film. I'll just check in on a few things and not worry about it. But I have been so moved today that I wanted to make this quick video tonight for you. So I hope you've had a great week. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going great. Hope you're preparing. And, I have to tell you, and I've said this many, many times, so I'm going to sound like a broken record, but to maybe some of you that are new to the channel, you've never heard this before. I always encourage people to do as much research as they can, documentation as much as they can to document family history, your ancestors, who they were, because it tells a lot about you. It tells about how you got here, what all these people, men and women, mamas and papas, what all they did for their family and in order to survive. Not only that, but if you go to a national cemetery and you walk through, like today, we went to the Chattanooga National Cemetery. I'd never been there before. I have an uncle buried there, and a great uncle, World War II. And the gentlemen that were there to help were so wonderful, and we started going over just the basics of the cemetery. That cemetery alone has 50,000 graves. 50,000. And I was asking specifically about the markers and the spots and all of these things, and I'm going to put the footage will be at the beginning, either beginning or the ending of this video. I'll put up everything from today. And what just an emotional event that is. Here's what struck me the hardest. So you have the grave markers that look like little blocks. They look like Legos from a distance. They're just little blocks. And then of course you have the traditional markers with all the writings on it. So I said, so before we went out and we're looking, I said, now go over with me again, what is what? And he was talking about the age of the cemetery. It started pretty much around the time of the Civil War. As you know, Chattanooga, so much happened in the Chattanooga area during the Civil War. And so it's a huge cemetery. And he said, well, all of those that are just blocks, he said, those are unknown bodies. Those are basically like unknown graves. And he talked about how all those bodies got there, how they would bring them in and whatnot. And he was so good because he's helping me find information to locate an unknown grave of a grandfather that I have buried in Nashville. I have a video on it. Folks, there's so many of them. And the first thing that came to mind when I was looking at these graves, went and saw my uncle, stood on the hill, filmed, tried to do like a panoramic view of the place because it's huge. These men, women too, but they're mostly men. They were not gray men. A lot of these gentlemen, I would like to say that they were all young, because the majority of them were. They were teenagers in a lot of ways. But the one I'm talking about that is buried in Nashville, and is the reason why I went on this trip to begin with today, because he was claimed Cherokee blood. And I also will contend, based upon my research, that he was also mixed African American as well. He was also an abolitionist. 74 years old. 74 years old. Enlisted with his 18-year-old son, who I found in Cleveland today. These are grandfathers of mine, straight line grandfathers to me. fourth, third, and coming on down to me. So these men were of mixed heritage. They stood up for the rights of others. They loved their families. They definitely loved their children and grandchildren by everything that I've seen. They were really good fathers. And they loved this country. And they stood up at 74 years old and at 18 years old. See, the 18-year-old went in as soon as he turned 18 from Monroe County originally. They both went together to Knoxville, signed up together, ended up being in Nashville. The oldest one, the father, died of smallpox. So see, that's why it's hard for me to find his grave. He was in the hospital for smallpox. I have all of the paperwork. His son, who I found his final home from the deeds office today in Cleveland. That was his final home. He had moved to Cleveland. He's buried in McMinn County, however. For those of you that are familiar with Athens, the Battle of Athens, yeah, all that stuff, all that area. He's buried over there, but here's the thing. These men were not gray men. What do I mean by that? I'm telling you, from 18 years old to 20 years old to 40 years old up to in their 70s, these men stood up and pushed back and said no. They stood with their children. They stood with their families. They did what they felt that was right at that time. Folks, the calling is here for us to be those people once again. That's the only way this nation will survive. We cannot be gray men. Now, I know somebody's going to take me out of context with this, and I'm not telling you to be silly, stupid, and just be blatant and to be violent or anything like that. I'm just giving you the encouragement to understand that you cannot be a loafer on a sofa allowing things to happen, and you think somebody else is going to take care of all this for you. That is not going to happen. This government is not going to do it for you. We have no leadership at this time. None. We have none. And the ones that are stepping up to attempt to try to right the ship, at least somewhat, whether we fully agree with them or not, look what's happening to them. And it's not just to one person. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. So I want to encourage you to know who you are. I want to encourage you to be brave. I want to encourage you to understand your history. I say this all the time. You are here for a reason. You are here for a reason. I have passed by places in my life that I did not know were a home place of a previous ancestor, a grandparent, or an aunt. And here I am now coming full circle with all of these things. I'm coming back full circle as an adult to understand that, no, I'm just not some little white hillbilly redneck woman from East Tennessee. No, never have been. We are mixed-blooded people. This country is mixed-blooded people. You know, I'm going to say this. This is going to be a little controversial. The gnats are out tonight. I'm going to say this. I took a genealogy class a couple of months ago at the East Tennessee History Center in downtown Knoxville on past slaves and on having the heritage of not indigenous people, but of blacks, slaves. And the woman that taught the class was absolutely fabulous. She's a genealogist, and she's highly educated, beautiful class. And when we walked in and sat down, you had 20 or 30 people of all colors, men and women, all colors. And we were sitting there, and she said, "Stop right now." We were like, what? What's she talking about? What's she doing? She said, "I want you to stop right now." She said, "I already know where some of you could go with this, and I want to tell you right now, there is no right or wrong question or answer. We're all in this together. You perceive me as a black woman, but you know what? I'm white too. So we're all here for the same reason, because this country has so much mixed heritage. So whatever you're walking in here with, whatever your thoughts about history, things that happen to people, she said, leave it at the door. She said, we're not doing that to ourselves, and we're not going to do that to each other, because we're all here for a reason. You know, it's so interesting too, because she had a gentleman in the class. He was so nice, a black gentleman. And he got to open up his DNA. He opened up his DNA. He did his DNA, and he opened it up in the class, and he shared it. He'd never looked at it before. He had just gotten it back. Boy, was he surprised to find out how white he really is. I want you to know that that evening is one of the best evenings I've had in a long time, with people, just being out with people that, frankly, I didn't know them from Adam. I want you to know that in my genealogy research and journey, that was one of the best classes that I've ever taken, and it was so rewarding and enriching, and it was just so nice to be a part of something where we didn't sit around and worry about each other in terms of, what color are you? What color am I? Well, you're not this, I'm not that. We were just people trying to find our people. Folks, that's what this country is about. Regardless of our scars, regardless of so many wrong things that have happened in the past, because they have, it's not perfect. And the thing is as proud as I am of this nation, I'm proud of this country. You know why? Because I'm proud of the Constitution, and I'm proud of our people. There's a big difference there. Don't muddy those waters, and understand that we have to stick together, and we have to stand up for each other, and we have to stand up collectively as the people. No more of this running and hiding. No, I'm not running and hiding anywhere. Absolutely not. As I walked through the shadows of 50,000 men today, there was no gray man there. So no, I won't be that person. I hope you understand what I'm saying tonight. Be peaceful and be praying, but be proud. Don't let anyone beat you down in terms of your patriotism and the beauty that exists here in this country. We are the melting pot. We are the ultimate melting pot. Every one of us, every one of you, truly. If you are an American citizen and you have heritage here, guaranteed. And you should be proud of who you are. Be proud of what we are. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for this great nation. A lot of good videos coming your way. A very emotional day today. So proud of the things that I have found. And thank you so much for your kind comments. Guys, be strong. Godspeed. Like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you on the next video.